What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is Jason here, and we're continuing our series where we're building out our generative chatbot. In the last episode, we went through and we scraped all the YouTube data that we're gonna need for this, and we should see it here in our drive. Actually, let me go to my Google Drive. Here in the YouTube data, Huberman. So for me, this one is gonna be called Huberman Transcripts V5. I don't know. Maybe you guys didn't have the versions, or just maybe you gave it a different name. So this is the data. This is what we're going to use to fine tune our chatbot. And before we do that, actually, let's so what we're fine tuning actually is the DialoGPT, which was made by Microsoft, and they actually used, I believe they used ChatGPT, and then they trained ChatGPT on a whole bunch of Reddit conversations, and yeah, that's how they created this this model. You can learn more about it in the paper here. I'll put these links in the description, the link to this, the HuggingFace. And this is what we're going to be using this is the model that we're going to be using to fine tune it in order to create our custom generative chatbot. And it's pretty cool what they did here, so I'd recommend like studying more of that. They basically just took the generative part of GPT, they made it to where it's like more of a conversational model. So now let's create a new notebook. And this is where we're actually going to do our whole fine-tuning training, our whole fine-tuning of the model. So let's call this generative chatbot model. Let's call this generative chatbot model. Okay. So what are we gonna need? We're gonna need a pip install transformers. And we're also gonna need data sets. And with that, we should be good. And I think I need an exclamation. Oh, and for our runtime, we wanna make sure we put GPU. GPU class standard. Oh, I spelled transformer. All right, so let's try this now with the correct spelling. All right, so we're downloading. All right, it's getting downloaded. So while that's happening, what we want to do now is we're gonna load the data. So I'm gonna and then I'm gonna do Command M twice to change this into a text cell. You could just hit text cell and then write load data here. But it's a little cheat code. If you have a cell that's for code, then you can just Command M twice and it'll change it to a text cell. All right, so we're gonna load our data. Well, actually, no, we're not gonna load our data yet. Sorry, we're gonna load the model first. So from transformers, let's load model. Let's load the model so we can get familiarized with it. So from transformers, we're gonna import auto model for casual language model, and then auto tokenizer. Torch token is gonna be auto tokenizer. From pre-trained. And this is really cool because this is all like HuggingFace stuff, and it's gonna allow us we can just directly copy this DialoGPT small, paste it, copy this, paste it there, and then for the model, all right, we do that, and it'll automatically know, it'll automatically search in the HuggingFace library. I think I spelled casual. I think it should be spelled like that. No. How did I spell it wrong? C-A-U-L, C-A-U-S-A-L. All right, I think it's right this time. Let's try it. All right, yep, it's working. So, and shout out to HuggingFace because it grabs this right from this the repo that they have here. And you can do this for any model, even models that we upload. Like when we finish fine tuning this, we're gonna upload this to the HuggingFace. We're gonna upload this to our own HuggingFace repo, and we'll be able to do the same thing with whatever name we give the model. All right, so it loaded. And now before we get into like fine tuning stuff, let's chat with it. And if we go here, let's chat for 5 lines. So if you copy this lets you chat with DialoGPT for 5 lines. So let's do this and let's Command Enter or return. And one thing I want to note too is we're using small because it's a lot easier to fine tune than if you're working with a larger model. So hello there. I'm not OP, but hi. That's a very Reddit response, I believe. Is Huberman there? Since we're gonna use the Huberman Lab podcast. Oh, let's see if, oh. So yeah, this is the chatbot. Okay then, let me just, it's just gonna repeat, I'm Huberman, I'm Huberman. All right, finished. Okay, so, well, that's the basic model. We haven't, without touching it or fine tuning it. And now let's load our data. And let's try to visualize. Let's visualize. So let's import pandas as PD, and then from datasets import. No, all right. Huberman. Let's just call it Huberman data. So PD. So we import pandas as PD, and then Huberman data equals read underscore CSV. And one thing we have to do that I haven't is you need to mount your Google Drive. Make this a little larger. All right, so we're gonna wait for it to mount. And while we're waiting, we can do length of data and length of Huberman data. All right, and now let's go here. We're gonna just go and look for the path of our files. So I'm gonna use this one. So I'm gonna copy the path here. I'm gonna read it and close this, or I'm gonna copy paste it here. Oh, we have we have two R's there. All right, and now let's print the head, or let's show the head. So let's run this out and see what happens. So this episode 1 didn't have a guest. So you see this here. Welcome to the Human Lab Podcast. Okay. All right, let's do 10. All right. Oh, something interesting I see is we're probably gonna have to clean this up because there's like a little new line thing that's showing up. So to do this, we can just call. So we need to call human data text, and we need to this again, and then we need to do string dot replace, and we're gonna replace the new line with a space, empty space. All right, now we're gonna try this again. Looks like it went away. Yep, it looks like it went away. And if you have any other weird characters, you can just repeat this. Now something that we need to do is we need to contextualize the data. And what that's gonna do is, so a way to contextualize this is we're gonna, let's say, we're basically gonna grab like an n number amount of sequences here. So let's say we're going, for our example, we're gonna get 7. So we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're gonna treat these 7 as a conversation. So this will be the response of one person, and then this will be the response of the other person, one person, the other person, one person, the other person. And that's how we're gonna feed in the data to fine tune our conversational model. So let's do this, and then I'll talk about it a little bit more when you can actually see it in action. So our text is gonna equal this, and then for I in range, row, and for j in range, So we're gonna start at the I index, and we're gonna go all the way to the previous. We're actually gonna be going, so we're gonna start at I and then go all the way into the previous. And then we're gonna add the row to the context array. All right, and let's try to run this. Contexted on 5. So I'm gonna run this and let's see what. All right, and if you see here, the way it's ordered is, so the beginning, this is actually the first line in the transcript. Welcome to the Human Lab Podcast. This is at the end of the row. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 rows, and this is the last one. And then this is like the context, aka the history of the conversation. So this response was in response to this, and then this was in response to that, and then this was in response to that. And that's the context that's giving us the context that we're going to use to train the model. And we can actually make this, thanks to pandas and data frames, we can make this look a lot nicer. So we're going to put this in a context and response in the context. And then we want to add, so we're basically going to make each of these responses columns in our data frame. And then we're also going to have more context. So the first index is the response. The second one is the context. And then the ones following are just going to be more context, but with different numbers. So what we can do is, so here we're going to use list comprehension for I in range. So this is a for loop that's just going to loop through it's going to loop from 0 to n minus 1, which is 6. And these are going to be the additional contexts. And if we run, or if we show what columns is right here, you see we have response, context 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are just additional contexts. You can think of it as, so this is response to context, and then this is the response, and this is the context. And then for this index, this is the response, and this is the context. This is the response, this is the context, this is the response, this is the context, this is the response, and the context. Okay, and now to put this in a data frame, we're gonna do PD data frame from records, from underscored records. We're gonna do contexted. We're gonna set it to contexted, and contexted is a huge array of basically everything in this transcript and chunked into an array that has 8 rows, which contain basically these. And each row is corresponds to one of these. And you can do columns in the data frame, and we'll set it equal to our columns. And we can do data frame.head, and we'll see what it looks like. Bam! And now we see our response. So this is welcome to the Human Land Podcast. This is the last response, right? So the first response is, and what do you accomplish? This is what came before that. This is what came before that. This is what came before that. So we're just working our way backwards. Okay. Now we have our data now our data is pretty set. Now we just need to do now we just want to test train split. Now we just need to split our data into a test and train split. So we're going to use sklearn train test split, the good old, oh wow. Okay, then I'll call this train df, validation df, train test split, data frame, test size, do 0.1, and let's print the length. Okay, let's do the same for validation. So our training data has about 174,000 elements. Our validation data, about 20,000. And we're actually going to cut this down a lot, because I found that in my experience with fine-tuning this model, with the way that we're going to do it, is it's very, the more data you have, the more computing power you need, and we don't have, like, especially here on Google Colab, you only have 1 GPU, so we're going to have to shrink down the number of elements that we're going to use to train our model, or to fine-tune our model. And what I found was a really good number is about 15,000 for the training, and that still takes about like an hour or two, but that gives you like a pretty good chatbot. If you go, I've tried like around almost 30,000, and that, I think it took 3 hours, and I don't think it actually finished because I got some run out of memory like towards the end, which was unfortunate. Okay, so, and then the validation data, we're gonna do like, let's do 1500, and this sample just randomly selects this amount of numbers from our data. I found that better. That way it just gives it more randomness. Doesn't hurt to do so. So now we have our training and validation data set. Now we need to build out how we're going to perform the training and all that. And actually, before we even do that, so we're gonna change our data frames as, let me get one example. All right, so our data frame has a whole bunch of these conversations, contextualized conversations. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the PyTorch dataset and data loader to convert this all into numbers, so that our model can actually understand what is going on, and it can actually be fine-tuned and actually generate a conversation that is based on this data. So what do you want to do first? So there's a lot that we need to do here. Well, not a lot, but there's a lot of code that we're gonna bring in. And before we bring it in, I want to actually shout out, I believe his name is Nathan Cooper. He actually has this really cool blog post where he actually he went through on creating a chatbot for, I believe it was Spanish telenovelas. So if you're interested in that, you can check out this. This will be in the description below as well. We're gonna be using some of the code to help us here with the fine tuning, and all of this will be in the, like, this notebook will be in the description, so you guys can grab this code from there. But yeah, shout out to Nathan though, shout out to him for building this out. I am a nerd. So we have to import quite a lot of stuff, because we're gonna be doing a lot. So these are some of the libraries and stuff we're gonna need. And I'm actually going to create a logger, get logger. And this logger here, we're gonna be using it to actually log everything that's going on in our training process. Not just training, but also evaluating. So to use PyTorch data, so we're going to convert our data frame into a PyTorch data set. And in order to do this, so you create a class, conversational data set. Looks like I spelled conversational. We should do conversation. All right, we need to create the init. We'll pass in self. We'll pass in a tokenizer. We'll pass in some arguments We'll pass in a data frame, and we'll set the block size to 512. Block size equals blocks minus the tokenizer length, max length, and then single sentence. All right. So now we have the block size, and we want to set a directory. And this is just a directory where we're going to cache some of the information that we get from our training loops. But I'm just bringing them some more information. Anything else? So that was all for the init. Now in a PyTorch dataset, we also need the length. We need to have that, and we just return the length of self.examples. And we also need one more thing, which is the get item. This allows us to get an item, return torch dot tensor self.examples item type torch dot long. And if you see here, we have this missing. This is actually a function we have to create. And this function is basically the one, it's going to be the main one that's converting each of these data frame rows. It's going to basically convert it into, it's going to tokenize it and convert it into something that the model can understand. So first we're going to flatten it. So we're going to use lambda item for sublist in L for item in sublist. And this basically just converts our function. It converts each row, it flattens it out, because each row can kind of be treated like an array, which each of these are indices. It flattens it out into one chunk. And from there, we want to reverse it. Tokenizer.eos. This token right here basically just let me just write this out first. So there's a lot going on here, right? And to simplify, so let's go inside here first. So we have a for loop. We're looping through each item in the row, and we're creating an array that encodes each of these texts and then adds this EOS token ID, which will basically let our model know that this is the end of the sentence. And we're doing this for each element, and we're reversing it. So this will be the start of the conversation, and this will be the end, and we're putting it into a list. And now what do you want to do? You want to flatten it, and we can actually try to see this in action. So how can we see this in action? Let's grab this. Let's put this here. Let's break. This will be, let's do train df. And actually let's print, so let's print the row, and then let's print the conv here, and let's print it here. And this will be good to give us a visualization of what the hell is happening, right? So we're gonna run this, and let's run this. So this will just run it once. It's for one row. All right, so this is the row. Yeah, we printed the row first. So these are all the rows, which we knew that already, right? And now if you see here, this is the first convo that we print. Oh snap. And this is where we do all this manipulation here. Actually, let me put this flattened. I'm gonna move this here since we don't use it until later. Okay, so I want to do one more thing. So just to give us a better picture of what the hell is going on, right? Let's tokenize. We're gonna tokenize the first row. So that should be this and this. But wait, what am I? I think I need to add something. Actually, no. It might be good like this. Let's try to run this and see what happens. Oh yeah, we're good. So this is the first element in the row and the second element in the row. And if you see something, if you guys notice, maybe this array that contains array, this first element is actually this one right here. And as you see here, we have this token that is not here, which is the EOS token. Where did we add that? Right here, the EOS token ID. And if we search for, what is this, 1532, this should be the last one. 1532, yep. And so we have tokenized each of these sentences, and then this last one right here is when we flatten it, and that's when we use this function right here to flatten it all into one long array of tokens, which we don't know what the hell it means, right? But the model is going to use this, and it's going to fine-tune the model. It's going to fine-tune itself, which is pretty cool. I guess crazy that the model is going to take this information and then bam, it's going to train. All right, so that's that's what we're doing here together, gathering these data sets. I'm gonna remove these prints because when we're training, you don't want to have these here. It's gonna slow down your training so much. I'm gonna bring in a few things here, model config classes and then model types. This is something we'll use later. Okay, now we need to bring in some helper methods that we're gonna use in our training and evaluation. And what these methods are basically gonna help us do is when we're training the model, we're gonna have like checkpoints. We're gonna have checkpoints where within our training loop, it's gonna check whether it's getting better or worse. Because when we're done, we're gonna wanna save the best one. It looks like we're missing NP. Import is NP. All right, that's something we need to bring in. Okay, and now for our training. Now we're gonna bring in a whole bunch of code for our training. And bear with me. It's gonna be a lot, but this is what's gonna be doing all the magic in the background. And again, a lot of this stuff comes from the blog that Nathan Cooper created, where he was fine-tuning a bot based on telenovelas. So if you want to learn more, check that out. And also, I'd say just try to go through and try to understand as much as you can of what's going on in each of these. And it can be kind of complicated depending on your experience with machine learning, artificial intelligence. I know even for myself, like I can kind of check it down and try to see what the hell is going on, right? I've been playing around with this and seeing if there's a way to simplify it or maybe use like the HuggingFace trainer, which is a pretty simple training API that they have to fine-tune models. But I've been having some issues and it's been kind of tricky, especially for a conversational model. This was like the best resources and the best way I found so far. If you guys have any tips on how to improve this and make this better, please drop it in the comments. Let us know, because it'll be helpful for not just me, but for everyone who's trying to create a generative chatbot. Okay, now that we created our evaluate method, which we're gonna pass in some arguments, the model, the token, the training data frame, and the validation data frame. And we created the training loop, I believe. Yep. It is where all our training is going to happen. And we're almost done. Now we just need to create one more function, which is going to be our main method. And one cool thing about this is it actually supports multiple GPUs. I mean, we're using this on Google Colab, so we can't use multiple GPUs ourselves. But if you made this in VS Code and ran it on a server that had multiple GPUs, or maybe you on your own system you have multiple GPUs, you can leverage that and make your training and fine-tuning a lot smoother and faster, I would say. Okay, so we have the main. Now just a few more things. We need to pass in some arguments. So we're gonna create a class called arguments, and in here, this is the output name that you want to have. Let's see, Huberman. We'll just call it Huberman. HubermanGPT small. Let's capitalize Huberman. HubermanGPT small. Microsoft. All right, this looks good. All right, and now we're ready to train. And all we need to do to train or to fine-tune our model is call main, and then pass in our training data frame and our validation data frame. Command enter, and oh, we got an error. Where is the error? No directory such as. All right, so it looks like I finally got this going. Ooh, that was a lot of debugging. So we were having an issue where it was strange. Like this file here, Google Colab was saying we couldn't find it, and I had to like go around like a crazy man looking for what the hell was wrong, right? But I actually pinpointed the issue, and if we go. Where are we? Right here. If we go to where we have this config, tokenizer, model, blah, blah, blah. So we need to add content right here. And this is all due to like the way Google Colab and using our Google Drive, the way it works. So if you actually, and this might change some things in our output. So if we go here, if we copy this path, which this is what the error we were getting was saying that we didn't have. If I copy this here, you see we have content, cache, models. At first it was only searching for this. But to be honest, it was saying it was searching for this. And it couldn't find this. So what I did is I added this portion right here for all 3 of these, and I was able to fix our issue. And I'm gonna let this run. I'll be back when this is done, and hopefully this didn't break anything, because in the past I was having no issues running it without adding the content, but maybe some changes were made to the transformers library or something. I even tried to go back to a previous version, but that didn't help. So you never know. Sometimes a small change of some random thing can cause some issues, but it's training now. We're on our first epoch. We see we have 3,000 iterations. I think there's 2 more epochs after this. So this is probably gonna take us like maybe almost an hour probably. I'll be back then. I'm gonna go listen to some music, jump around, and I'll see y'all then. All right, so we finally finished training. It took about like almost 2 hours, about an hour and a half. We see we have our perplexity score, which if you look up perplexity HuggingFace, they have some really good resources on what perplexity is. And I think there's like a video. I think they have a video. Let's see. I'll link to this in the description. This is a good video. It's a good video that'll let us know that goes over. Now it's time to moment of truth. So I'm gonna copy. This is from before. I'm gonna change this to HubermanBot, and we need to do a little bit of changes. So we need to. What we need to do is, the tokenizer is gonna stay the same, but our output is actually gonna be HubermanGPT small, which we see right here, this folder. And this actually, if you see here, this has saved the model and all the weights at each of these checkpoints. So we could actually review and see which one, if we wanted to keep maybe a previous one or not. Okay, so we copy HubermanGPT small here. And you just copy whatever name that you put for your output. And let's run this and see. This should work. If it doesn't work, then I'm gonna run away. Oh, all right. Is this Andrew or Dr.? Is this Dr. Huberman? Yeah, I think it's a great question. Should I get sunlight? Let's ask him that. Should I get light viewing? It looks like it needs some work. What's the most important thing? Well, I think it's a great question. You just gonna repeat the same thing? All right, let's see. Let's see. Vegan or carnivore? I don't think I spelled carnivore right. Apologies. I don't think. Well, I guess it is. It's not something I use in my vocabulary regular. I think it's a great. Why is it telling us this? Let me see something. Oh, we need to make some changes. So I see. Let's stop this and let's make some changes. So with our generate, we could do no repeat, n-grams, size equal 3. What else we could do? We'll set a do sample equal to true, top k equal to 100, top p 0.7, temperature 0.8. And this will give us some more, this should give us some better responses, some more animated response. Let's run this. Are you there? Whoa. Oh, no S, sorry. No repeat n-gram size. Are you there? Okay there. Vegan or carnivore? What? Alright, should we get sun viewing should we get sunlight? What about cold exposure? I mean, cold showers and cold showers are all very different. What is something, I don't know, what else did you talk about? What's the best protocol? What's the best health protocol? Oh, this happens at the end because the chat history gets so long, I believe. Let me see. What is the best health protocol? Tell me more. Did the bot just say it has a high testosterone? What the heck? That's hilarious. Alright, good to know, I guess. What I'm talking about here is that there are a number of people out there that are interested in optimizing their hormones. How can I optimize? Then the bot with the little teaser, and this is gonna break right here. Yeah. Oh, I want to make sure I'm clear. I want to talk about Alright, this bot is beating around the bush. Okay, so we have the bot built out. And now let's save this, because if you leave this page, this is all gonna go away and you're gonna have to train this again for about an hour or so. Oh, and one thing about the training is if you want to train with a lot more data, you can, but again, it's going to be slower. It might break if you're just using one GPU. You might need a stronger GPU. So I found this to work more. You could push it to like 25,000, I believe, and it'll I think it'll still work. Yeah, it'll still work around 25,000. Anything above 25,000, it's like it gets iffy. And even 25,000 too, it might not work. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna log into HuggingFace. We're gonna import this, and then you need to go to your, well, if you just go to this link here, and assuming you have a HuggingFace account all set up, you'll just hit show and it'll show you your token or whatever. You can deploy this to your HuggingFace account. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So you just grab that. If you don't have a HuggingFace account, get it set up. You just have to do some verification stuff, and then you'll be all set, and then you should be able to get this token. And then you paste it here, you hit login. All right, it was valid, and now you just do model push to hub. I'm gonna call this HubermanGPT small v1. And I'm gonna copy this and then paste it, and then just do this for the tokenizer as well. All right, you hit command enter, or shift return, I'm sorry. I think I've been saying command enter, and I'm sorry if I shift return, and then, so this is being uploaded. All right, and it's done. I think if we go here, we could see it. Yep, it's showing up right here. This is not gonna work. We need to go to settings, and because when you upload this, it's probably gonna be set to a text generation, and you can change this by going to settings. I think you have to edit it. Oh, we go to model card. Oh, here we go. And pipeline, conversational, and then you just hit commit new changes. You can add more stuff here. And now it'll be conversational, but you might have it might still not give you the desired output. Sometimes I run into issues when I'm trying to run the model here on the HuggingFace interface API, but here in Google Cloud or Google Colab, it works perfectly fine. And that's it for this video. We went on quite a journey, right, to get this fine-tuned. But now we have our chatbot. In my case, I have the HubermanGPT. Maybe you have something interesting. Let me know what you decided to create a chatbot on. I would love to hear. So let me know in the comment section. And in the next video, what are we going to be doing? We're going to be working on getting this into a whole React application. And then so it's going to be two parts. We need to get it into a React application, and we need to set up a server that's going to host our machine learning model. And we're going to have to communicate. But that's further down in the series. Tune in for the next episode where we're going to be continuing this project. I'm not sure if it's React or if we're going to work on the API side first. Just tune in. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
I'm riding between it all in this perfect play. I'm a piece of the puzzle, I'm a fit where you need me, baby.